5 on there, indicating that they're on their second lap. 4.5 to go. And wait and see if it is the same lead trio in the same order. Plate 1, 2 and 3. Nino Schurter leading the race. And it looks like he's making a bit of an attack now before the feed zone. Well, definitely coming through with a lot of pace. Plate number 1, followed by plate 2, Julian Absalon. And there's some great articles over winter about the changing guard of the young to the old. The 30-year-old Julian Absalon losing out in the second half of last season. Now making a move on Nino Schurter. Is he going to stamp his authority at the beginning of the year? He did have a newborn son in July last year, and he did say they created a different environment for him and some sleepless nights. But that's well and truly behind him now as he's getting up towards his 31st birthday, and looking forward to another strong season by this man. Don't count him out by any measure. He may well be a few years older than his arch rival in this race, but certainly a wily old fox, a lot of experience. He knows exactly how to ride these races, and he just stays on the limit, doesn't go over it. And you see him now dropping down through the switchbacks with the young gun Nino Schurter, world champion 2009, chasing the Olympic champion 2008. Just behind them, of course, Jaroslav Kulhavi went out early. We saw that in the women's race. The riders that went out early suffered a little bit towards the middle of the race. So we'll see if Kulhavi can hang on to that lead group, or fall into the clutches of Jose Hermida, sitting there in 4th place. Bit of a step down there. We saw a rear puncture from Katarina Nastru there in the women's race. These two look very, very strong indeed. Looks like they're the Nino Schurter running tubular tyres. Getting some information there. One of the French national coaches running out to Absalon to give him some information about where he's at. But I think he'll have a pretty good idea in the early stages of the race. He's on the front, and there's any number of riders within a minute who can get back onto this group. So he's got to keep the tempo, but not overdo it. Had a quick look back there to see what the gap was to 3rd. And we just see the world champions colours going underneath us there in 4th place. I really don't think it's going to be too long before Kulhavi is joined by Jose Hermida. Watch Jose Hermida in the second half of this race. As you watch the rest of the field wend their way up through the amphitheatre. We look down through the field as they came through, and we see that Lutenberg from Netherlands moved up from position 99 on the start to position 48. That's a good start by Lutenberg. Also Chris Jongerwood from Australia moved up from 81 to 42. And Van Hoevels, the Belgian champion, up from 62 to 39. So there's some big movers. But equally, some people suffering. Christoph Sauser back in 35th place, starting from the front row of the grid. So not a great start for him. Also Ullmann from the Czech Republic, position 41 down to 77, suffering with Wolfram Kershap. Had a great ride here 2 years ago, sitting in 64th, starting from position 14. So he's gone back 50 spots. I did see him on the line. He was taking some long, deep breaths. And I don't know if that was nerves. It's a long way down. Let's see if we have any DNFs from the first lap. A couple of DNFs, and a did not start. Knox from South Africa and Theron from South Africa. And looks like Basingthwaite from Namibia is still out there lapping down in 112th position. So keep track of it on live timing on the UCI website, and you can also see all the UCI teams there. They're listed, and you can check out who's riding for who. But now we've joined the leaders on the far rock section, rock garden, and you see once again Nino Schurter very comfortable on that inside line and taking Absalon once again. We saw him do that on Kulhavi. Kulhavi now into picture, so he hasn't really lost touch yet, but already a gap. Schurter has that inside line absolutely nailed and picks up a lot of time and is able to pass a rider and put a gap in. Jose Hermida on the rider's right-hand side going down. And now we see Fontana. Marco Fontana from Italy wearing the national champion's jersey. That's a great ride by him. Plate number 16, riding for the Cannondale Factory Racing Team. Their team manager telling me that they were both his riders were feeling great today, Fumik and Fontana. Really looking forward to getting the season up and running. Plate 19 going through there now. That's Todd Wells in the national champion's jersey. Barry Stander dropping back. Well, that'll be disappointing for the local crowd. You see one of the red shirts there on the bottom right of the screen saying, "Go Barry." So they'll be disappointed to see that. The two brothers now going through, Lucas and Matthias Flukiger for Trek World Racing. Well, Luke getting a little bit untidy there, just balking a little bit. You cannot afford to lose momentum on that section there. We saw a lot of riders go over the handlebars and into the crowd there. Sebastian Scheck, one of the media there on the side in the dangerous position where we saw, I think it was one of the rubber bank girls go over the handlebars and into the crowd. This is the quarry section. We'll wait for them to come through. We're almost up to the first 30 minutes of racing with a bit over an hour to go. So it's certainly not done and dusted. A lot to play through yet. And the big movers, as I mentioned before, we see plate number 36, Sam Schultz, moving up. Thomas Litcher, plate 43, up into 18th place. Keep an eye on them to see if they can maintain that sort of momentum for the second half of the race as the lead motor comes into the quarry. He doesn't ride down the actual track. He's got a sideline that he takes, which is really the chicken line. And the riders can also take that as well. But we see 99% of them are heading down this route here. No other races on course. We saw the under-23 women being raced at the same time as the elite men, but in the elite men's race, they are the only riders on course. So, Schurter ahead of Absalon. Back in order now, 1, 2, and 3, as per their number plates. Well, even at this point of the race, you'd have to think that there's a good chance one of these guys can win, but we have Jose Hermida, the experienced world champion, sitting in 4th place. It won't be long before he comes into shot, and then we'll be able to see what sort of a gap. He'll be able to see them on quite a few sections and know exactly there. He can see them going ahead of him right now through the tape. Jose Hermida knows exactly how far away those guys are, and he can start to plan his attack as to whether or not he'll bridge the gap now or wait a little while till the race pans out a little bit further into the race where he might feel pretty good in the second half. It depends on how the riders approach their first half of the race and the second half. We saw Gunrita Dahl in the women's race come back to 12th place after starting off pretty slow. So it can happen. That was Manuel Fumit and attacking. Jose Hermida has been 3-time world champion. League world champion in 2010, under 23 in 2000, and he won the team relay in 2005. Here we see our 3 leaders coming under the bridge. Pace has slowed down a little bit as they came to the start finish and coming into the feed zone. They're looking around now, and that's going to work into the hands of Jose Hermida. He wants them to do exactly that. He wants them to start looking at each other and questioning who's going to do the attack now at the start of lap 3. And they come through now. They've done it in 35 minutes. So that was a 16-minute lap following a 15-minute lap. So almost exactly 1 minute, 1 minute and 1 second, the time taken to do the additional distance of the climb and the rock gardens. So Hermida just 14 seconds down from the lead, 13 seconds off third. He is a danger man, and Fontana is definitely on a charge. Fontana is plate number 16. And this would be a great result by him if he can get up into that top 15. He had a 9th last year was his best, and that was in Wyndham. But he had his first World Cup podium in 2009 in Madrid. So he's no stranger to the podium, but he doesn't get there very often. He was 5th at the Beijing Olympics, not a medal, but in mountain biking that's a podium place. So he's definitely a guy to watch. Fontana now on the chase, sitting in 5th place, with Lejarreta now moving up even more positions, moving up from 9th to 6th, the Spaniard. And Manuel Fumik losing out in that deal back to 7th place. Todd Wells now up to 8th. A great ride. He's picked up 8 spots. Todd Wells, this is a great ride by him. The second of the specialised riders now in the top 10. And Boris Stander sitting in 3rd with Paloma in 10th. Stefan Tempier in 11th, Matthias Flukiger now up to 12th and 14th, Manticon, and then Lucas Flukiger in 14th. Thomas Litcher now up to 15th. Florian Vogel is dropping back 3 positions to 16. Ralph Nath has come through, dropping a massive 9 positions. Martin Gougen going through now in 18th, coming up from 29th, so he's had a good lap. Gutierrez had a bad lap. Kabush has stayed steady in 20th place. Moritz Millat's going backwards in 21st. Van Hoot sitting in 22nd. Fabien Giger sitting steady, and Maxime Marot now finding, he must have had a problem because he's moved up 10 spots now to 24th. So Barry Stander getting a lot of cheers as we watch him go through with Manuel Fumik right behind him, plate 9 and plate 8 together. He rode that very smoothly, using the momentum to get him over the flat rock garden.
very stunned as the flicking of
Plate number 43 coming through now. Thomas Litcher. This is a guy on the move. We haven't seen him much in the top 10. This Swiss rider riding for the Felt team.
It's been really good. Stephen Pete, good to watch these guys racing.
Yeah, big time. I wouldn't want to be out there now. Too often now.
26 coming down now is Martin Bouchard. He's running for Cannondale, so there are 3 Cannondale riders in this race. All doing pretty well.
South
So
African
Florian Vogel in
cycling in
his
general.
tail,
Not
plate
2
number
weeks
4.
ago we had the BMX World Cup. And now it is the mountain bike triple again in 2000.
A Swiss rider behind us. 3 Swiss riders together there. Ralph Neff going through. And what a tough job it is for the Olympic selectors from Switzerland to find the best 3 guys out of what looks like 9 or 10. Now
Watch the big screen, a silver lining as the single track starts lighting up as the riders
I
all
understand
get...
that the Swiss will be choosing their Olympic team after the first 3 rounds of the World Cup of 2012. So for most nations, this is all about getting points, increasing their nation ranking, increasing the number of riders that they can have at the Olympics in the men. And Alban Lackada from Austria now racing to try and get points for Austria to see if they can get 2 places. So it's all about nation ranking, and that determines how many places your country will get at the Olympics. It's not determined by world rankings. The top 50 men do not go to the Olympic Games to take those 50 spots. The Olympic ideal is to spread it around all different continents, and therefore certain country allocations are done based on world rankings, others by continental championships and so forth. But back now with the leaders, it's Kulhavi. He's gone back to the front. So in reverse order now, 3-2-1 with Schurter sitting in 3rd, and there's Hamida. He's definitely closed down some time. It's tempting to really push it and try and get there, but if he can wait for Fontana, perhaps the 2 of them can work together without expending too much energy. If they both try and bridge the gap together, the cumulative energy there will be too much. Although Fontana looks like he's gasping for air like a fish out of water, as we see our next rider come up, which will be number 22. And this is this strong ride by Lejarreta from Spain.
The Orbea rider.
And he's been a previous world champion in other lesser categories, but now he's doing very well in the elite. 21 going through there now is Carlos Coloma. So 2 Spaniards. Barry Stander's starting to drop back. And you can see it is hot out there. In the direct sunlight, it is really warm. They get a bit of respite from the forest, but there's a lot of open sections, and humidity and the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius when we started is having an effect on some of these riders.
You can hear the vuvuzelas ringing up the valley as the South African guys.
So we're cutting now to a crash that's been picked up in the rock garden. We're trying to pick up this number 4. It looks like one of the Thomas riders from Switzerland. It is, it's a Thomas rider. So rider 112 going over the handlebars there, and well, the helmet doing the work. 112, that was Sepp Freiberghaus from the Thomas Racing team. So Freiberghaus having a rough introduction. This is a new team for 2011 out of Bern,
from Germany is
and
through.
the Thomas rider there
Number 2.
picking up his bike and continuing on, but that will certainly unsettle him for the remainder of the race, if not for the next half lap.
Ravenel from France.
So there go our, we've seen our leaders go through. 1, 2, 3 in Schurter, Absalon and Kulhavi, Hamida on the chase with Fontana. I hope that guy's not using up too much energy, because he did look like a little bit in oxygen debt when we saw him on our last close-up. But that may well be his riding style. We don't see him at the top 5 very often. In fact, his last podium was in Madrid 2009. Again, up in the top of screen, we see the lead moto going through, and that means any second now we'll see our lead trio. Looking through the thin trees here to see if we can pick up whether it's Kulhavi who still holds the lead, or they've swapped and shuffled again. Yes, Absalon now to the front, Kulhavi to the back, Schurter in the middle. Well, you can't say they don't pass each other. This lead trio have been swapping back and forth. Unlike when we saw Pendrell and Kalentieva holding position for 2 laps straight, these guys are swapping back and forth. There's a bit of a mind game going on here, showing the legs, testing the legs, seeing how each other feels, different sections here of the track, working out when they can attack later. Is it in the rock garden? Schurter obviously very comfortable in the rocky sections. Absalon a great climber, and Kulhavi just a big powerhouse of a rider. So we've got a bit of a mixture of everything here with these 3. Makes for a fascinating race. Different setups, different bikes, and different types of riders. So 3 different teams fighting it out here. The Orbea team, the Scott Swiss Power Racing team, and the Specialized Racing team. So good mix, followed by the Merida Multivan team sitting in 4th with their world champ, and they've got the Cannondale rider in 5. So 5 manufacturing teams in the top 5. Great to see a good mix there, and it looks like the second of the Cannondale riders going through is Ron Manuel Fumik. And then